Today we're going to be talking about a great option for a single pin slider sight that doesn't necessarily break the bank in the way that some others do. It's called the Trophy Ridge One React Pro. Couple cool things about this sight. So it is a slider sight. It's a single pin. You've got your bubble at the bottom, single pin. You can go diameters of 0.019 or 0.01. I'm running the 0.019 right now. There's two lights on this sight. One goes right here, screws in. Its job is to illuminate these optic fibers and these pins so that you can see where your needle falls on your slider, so you know the range that you're shooting, because it is only a single pin. This is the second light. Its job is to illuminate these optic fibers that run through the outer circumference of the sight housing so that your pin is illuminated when you're looking at it from the other side. When you first screw this light in, make sure that before you screw it in, you actually have to take it apart, and there's a little plastic disc in the center of it. And if you don't remove that, you'll think your light is defective. So I want to talk about how to sight this in. So take your macro adjust, release your gang, and when you're first doing this, just twist it until it's as high as it goes. You see this pin is now as high as it goes. Lock down your gang. Like the vertical and the windage, use your micro adjustment knobs to get your 20 right on point. After you have that done, this React technology will already have these spacings set out. So what you're gonna do is release your gang lock. It's every 10 yards. That's the increments that are just kind of standard. So go 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, whatever the spacing is that your yard allows you to shoot. Now go down to 60, put your lock down, shoot a group. Now if your group is dead on, then you got lucky and the spacing is correct. So the rest of these should be pretty dead on. If you have to shoot 40, use that pin. If you have to shoot 50, use that pin. If you have to shoot 30, so on and so forth. Now, let's assume that you took your group with your 60 pin, but your grouping is high of where you wanted it to be. So that means that your 60 pin is too low. So what you're gonna do is kind of take a guess at where it should be. So release your lock, come over to your macro adjust, raise it up to maybe 55, lock that gang lock back down, and then you're gonna take your Allen key. You see this adjustment screw right on top? That is for the React technology. You go clockwise or counterclockwise, and it brings, the way that this moves is actually really cool. So these are spaced out less on the top than the bottom, because as the arrow flies, it's gonna go 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, all the way down to potentially 100 yards. But as it's flying, it's taking more time to get from 90 to 100 than it did from 20 to 30, for example. So the spacing of these is more, because the arrow's path is gonna be like, right? So when you adjust this, it keeps that spacing, but you can kind of shrink the group of them together or widen it out. So in this case, our 60 pin was too far, so we need to shrink the grouping from our 20 pin to our 100 pin. We moved our pin, which was set at 60, which caused us to show our group high. We moved it up to 55, and now we just need to make our 60 pin match that little needle point. So you're gonna take your Allen key, you're gonna go to your React technology adjustment screw on the top, and you're gonna twist, and you see how that entire group of optic fibers is now shrinking upwards towards the top. So now I have those matched. My 60 pin now matches up with my new one. I would take a new group, I'd shoot a grouping with the new setting. Say you're dead on, then you're good. Say you're low this time. It means that, okay, we compensated too much. We moved our needle up too much, and now we need to lower it just a little bit. So what you're gonna do is release that gang lock. You're gonna use your macro adjust. And we changed it by about 5 yards last time, so maybe change it by 2 yards. Now set that gang lock back down. You can see that our needle is now below our 60 pin. So now we're gonna take our Allen key again, and we're gonna make our optic fiber pin for the 60 match where our needle is. So let's get right there. Just twist it one way or the other, right there. But that should be pretty good. Shoot another group now. Say it's dead on, you're good to go. And that React technology, what that's gonna do is save you a crap ton of time. So I haven't run a sight tape on this for the entire time I've owned it, because literally you sight in your 20, you figure out the spacing between the 20 and 60 by just using the React technology set screw. You don't have to jack with sight tapes, you don't have to do anything. It really optimizes and just makes this process way, way easier for the setup. So you don't spend an hour messing with sight tapes, and if you ever have to change them, it's like a whole hassle and you gotta go print out another one and you're worried about it being custom versus one that comes with the manufacturer. Great, great system. I love the React Pro technology. Nowadays, if you're gonna spend high dollar on a sight, you gotta have a good bubble and you gotta have a second and third axis adjustment. Your second axis adjustment screws are here and here. They make it very easy. They're both just Allen keys. Your third axis adjustment screws are here and here. Both very, very easy to get straight. Now, we talked about this gang release, and this gang release is for locking down the macro adjustment. So that's for this knob right here, this guy. That's our macro adjustment knob. That's how you control the position of your actual slider, okay? Now, the micro adjust, the little wheels are right here. This is for the vertical. You can see all these little ticks, and you can see this whole thing running down. There's a lot of space, room for a lot of adjustment. And if you can see right here, for the windage, this is the knob here. There's another slider bar that runs here. Gives you a lot of play on both the vertical and the windage. Now, you can't really move them, like you can click them, but they're very hard to click if your gang lock, which is right here, is locked down. So before you do any micro adjustment, you want to release your gang lock. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Very crisp sounding clicks as well, so you don't have to question if you're actually engaging it. Yeah, it's great. And then once you're done and you like where it is, you just take your gang lock and cinch it down again. If you're a guy that's able to look at these two dots and say, okay, that's my 20, that's my 30, I feel good setting my needle where 27 would be, then you really don't need a sight tape. I haven't run a sight tape for a while and I can shoot plenty accurate. Overall, fantastic, fantastic sight. The adjustability, the price point, it retails for about $278, I believe. I got it at Cabela's quite a few months ago, and I've been very happy with the performance overall. The thing I most like is the micro adjustments. I speak very highly of Trophy Ridge as a brand. I've always had positive interactions with those guys. I think for tack situations, shooting 3D, target archery, this is a great sight. The only downside to this sight is I don't know if it's the best for hunting. So when you're hunting, you're probably gonna have your slider set up so that your pin is at 20 yards. Say you have a deer that walks by at, say, 50 yards. You range him, you come down, and this is what I don't like. You gotta reach across, pull up the gang lock, put your slider down to 50, relock your gang, then grab your release and go. That's a lot of time. And say that deer is walking towards you in that whole period of time, what are you gonna set it to 50, re-range him again, unlock your thing, then go to 40, relock, hope he doesn't keep walking towards you? I don't know if it's the best setup for hunting. If you hunt in a feeder or a tree stand and you know that you're gonna be shooting pretty much a designated yardage of about 20 and in, then yeah, it could work great. Just release, set your slide all the way up to 20. Just work on it like that and never do anything else. I think for 3D, for target, for shooting long range, this is a phenomenal, phenomenal sight. You can't go wrong. For hunting situations, go at it with some hesitation and make sure you think through it so that you don't get hosed. That's all I got for you today. Always remember, live what you love.